opened up my heart. I'm at the start. I save the world. I save the world.
It's a beautiful thing, a beautiful day. And I just want to say how excited I am for this opportunity to be the speaker. Very excited when Reverend Tony asked me because I've been praying a lot on how I might expand, reach out more as a minister, reach out more in service in the world. And what exactly did that look like besides the classes that I've been teaching, A Course in Miracles, A Course of Love, which I love, both of the classes and my groups that I facilitate, and meditation. And, you know, I've been a minister now for just over a year with Community Miracle Center. And this community is my spiritual family. And, but even more than that, it's just, you know, it feels like home. So I have really want to step up my participation, and who knows, this might be the way to do it. All I knew is when prayer was answered, when Reverend Tony said, "We'd like to have you speak." And I really didn't have any idea what I would talk about, but I said yes anyway. And then after I hung up from the phone, I said, I got very nervous. I thought, oh, now I have to figure out what I'm going to share, what I'm going to talk about, because we hear such wonderful, wonderful talks from all the ministers. And anyway, I just want to be effective in helping as many people as possible to improve their lives, change their lives for good in their personal lives. And I also have the goal to make a difference in the world. And it starts with the individual. So I prayed and I just said, yes. Now, what am I going to talk about? And that was another process. That was another, okay, what do you do? And what I've always done my whole life is go within into prayer and ask for that divine guidance. I mean, this is what we do. And I have found that when I did that, change your story, change your life came up, but with divine guidance was very clear. Because, you know, the ego can tell stories just as much. And that's not the story we want to follow. And I also took a look at what's going on in the world. You know, it appears to be a lot of chaos, whether it be pandemics or war or discord. We can just pick and choose the areas that we'd like to heal. We'd like to bring miracles and really change, even though it's all an illusion, this wonderful world that we are living in and hopefully enjoying. We'd like to change a lot of it. And it seems that so many people, including myself at times over the years, we haven't been able to move from a particular experience. Now we're talking about your individual lives. So many people are telling stories like, oh, I'm too old to get hired, or I'm too overweight to do this or that. We can find many things to complain about and maybe not like the out picturing that we're experiencing, whether it be in the world as a whole or in our individual lives. You know, it's all, there's no degree of difficulty when it comes to miracles, as we often hear in A Course in Miracles. So we can look at everything from a personal experience to the worldly experiences and not like it, or we can like it. But the change is always going on within. This is where we're not making the change in the effect, in the experience, in what is already out picturing in the world. So it's real important to come within, to pause, to listen, to look at maybe what the story is that's being told. Maybe there's a story that's been repeated over and over again. Well, the definition of insanity is to keep doing it over and over again and expect something different to show up. And it's not. And it won't until we can go in and rewrite that story. So my life has been one of many wonderful adventures and journeys. And I have learned over the years, over 30 years as a practitioner of science of mind and A Course in Miracles minister and immersed in A Course of Love, that, we really do need to be in touch with what we are believing within, what our story is, and not be living our lives based on the effect. Okay, we can make those changes. Miracles happen all the time. Changes happen. People get cured of cancers and other illnesses all the time. Miracles can happen. So we definitely want to tap into all that. Now, change can take place anytime. The story can have a shift anytime. And that's what I want to talk about today. Actually, a story that just happened that I shifted very recently, and it had to do with my mother who passed many years ago. So that's what I'm going to share with you today in this moment. The other day, I went to the beach and I had my mother's ashes. She's been passed for several years. And I've been traveling all over, moving for many years, and I just haven't released the ashes. I never took care of that. I guess I was looking for the right place, the right time, and excuses kept coming up. It just wasn't, I didn't feel it. So she moved quite a bit with me. She spent time in this house, that house, on the road, and she always wanted to travel. So, even though she's not those ashes, she is spirit and we're not the body, I still have that feeling of, wow, I should do something with these ashes of Honey Ruth, my mom. So the time became right. It showed up. I was getting the guidance. It's time to let them go because I might move again. And I'm not going to keep moving with this unfinished business. And I think the reason I was holding off, because we had a challenging relationship over the years. And I had never completely healed or cleared that. So anyway, I went to the beach really early in the morning, found a beautiful place, private, and I was able to let go of some of the ashes. And it was right there on the Gulf of Florida, right there in the Gulf. It was beautiful in the morning. There were birds flying. Nature was all around. It was peaceful. And I just took a pause and I felt all these emotions coming up. I thought, well, what's that about? It's been years since she passed. I thought I had made peace, but I realized I hadn't. In that moment, I felt like I was talking to her direct. And instead of the story of you did this to me or that to me, and, why were you that way? And I could go on and on with the discord for many years. Instead, I just felt this overwhelming sense of forgiveness. It was past, and oh, it was so beautiful. It was from within in that moment with nature and her essence, her presence. And it wasn't mean or, it wasn't difficult. Like I had been telling, the story I had been telling for many years. It was very loving and peaceful. And then I realized in that moment, that was her true nature, love being. Everything else that I believed and thought wasn't the truth of who she was. And for whatever reason, we had this difficulty over the years. I don't really understand it or know it, but it was okay. I forgave her and myself and the relationship, etc. It was the most perfect time to release and let go. And in that moment, I was guided to, it was a little longer than a moment, but it was a beautiful moment. There is no time limit in this. It's just the present. In that present moment, I just felt overwhelming love. And I said to her, I love you. And I realized that you did love me. You and Dad loved me. And I was born out of a loving relationship. And it felt true. It felt beautiful. And I got to tell you, they divorced when I was 13. It was not a happy marriage. And that was the story for a long time. But I shifted that. And I felt it was the truth. And Dad's spirit was also present. So it was a wonderful way to say goodbye and not say goodbye, but to say goodbye to the story and change the story and give me incredible release and relief and joy. And, we're love beings. We absolutely are love beings. And the way we feel and the stories we tell are being outpictured in our experiences. So the reason I brought up this story is it doesn't matter if it's past. It seems to be in the past. If you haven't gone there and released and forgiven and changed a story about a loved one, a friend, family, doesn't matter. I highly recommend it. It's letting go and allowing you to be even more present, even if you don't think you have something unsolved. Generally, we do. And how to find out about that is to go inside and touch base and listen and allow that divine guidance to show up. So I really, really like that. And I wanted to read a quote here also from A Course in Miracles. Oops, hold on. Lost my little mouse. Okay. In chapter 21, the inner picture, it's so important. This stood out for me. I'm responsible for what I see, and I choose the feelings I experience, and I decided on the goal I would achieve, and everything that seems to happen to me, I asked for and received as I had asked. We ask for these experiences before we're here and birthed into this life experience. We're spiritual beings. And I believe we know we're not the body, yet we are here having this, spiritual beings having this human experience in relationship to ourselves and to everyone. So why not choose love? It is impossible the Son of God be merely driven by events outside of him. So what is appearing outside or has in the past that we see and we don't like, it doesn't feel good? Well, it's really impossible that is what it is, that it's not going to change. That is our we have to live with it. We can choose something different. We absolutely can, always. His power of decision is the determiner of every situation in which he seems to find himself by chance or accident. No accident nor chance is possible within the universe as God created it, outside of which is nothing. Suffer and you decided sin was your goal. Be happy and you gave the power of decision to him. You must decide for God, for you. This is the little gift you offer to the Holy Spirit. And even this he gave to you to give yourself. I mean, this is truth. This is something to remember. I mean, if there's one thing out of this whole talk that you remember, it's your ability to change effects in your life, to shift and make the changes. You can do it. You have that choice. So how do you do it? Well, my talk again, change your story, change your life. Well, it's about taking a pause and finding out what has caused this seeming or appearance of disruption in my life. Why am I not making as much money as I would like to? Why can't I find a job? When something comes up on a personal basis, in any situation, it doesn't matter. There are no difficulties and miracles, okay? God says yes to all of us. And staying connected and knowing your divinity, knowing that each one is one as God is, I am. And that is a truth that is always, doesn't matter what the ego mind, the ego thought system is trying to bring discord into our lives. We can choose the Christ conscious God thought system and choose our stories right from the start, right in the moment. Let's say you get a little bit of a worry coming in. What's going to happen in this world with all the war and that seems to be happening, all the discord in family, discord that I see in the world, anywhere, it doesn't matter. You start to feel fear and anxiety. You don't have to accept that. You just don't have to accept that. It's not the truth of who you are. Recognize and know your alignment with God. And God is our only source. We have to keep going back there and keep remembering. Another story that I love to share is how I lived my life, tapped in and tuned into to God, to the divine guidance within. And it has to do with traveling. I've been traveling and moving from California, many different states. I'm in Florida now. And each time I felt this inner guidance and time, it's time to move, it's time to go. And some of the times, most of the time, I had no idea what that looked like. I had no idea where I'd be going next, what exactly I would do, but I was called to go. Just pack up and make a move. And I did that trusting and knowing the divine guidance and support of God that's always present. And that takes a lot of trust. That just takes being in the flow and allowing whatever that divine guidance, wherever it wants to take you. And it wasn't always perfect, and that's okay. Because even if it's not perfect, we know and can trust that it will work itself out for good. Okay. I have a wonderful quote that I like to bring up. From the depths of our own being, God speaks to us through a medium of our own dreams, our imagination and visions. What we believe is manifest as our experience in the world. So it's not about what's happening outside of us. We do have the ability to direct our lives. And we can do that if we come from a place of love being. A course of love continues to reinforce that we are love beings and teaches us to trust that which we are. And any false appearance that is out picturing in our lives, we can simply choose something different. It's not what we have to live with. So every time I moved, I had no idea at times what would be next. I'd get a phone call or a place would open up. That was just the perfect place. But it started within. I would go into prayer quite often and follow and ask, what is mine to do? Where should I go? But I had a sense of peace and knowing everything was just in divine right order. Do you ever notice in your stories that sometimes there's that, it's playing out sort of like The Matrix? Have you ever watched the Matrix movie? And it seems like you have these Mr. Smiths out there trying to create chaos in your life. Well, that destruction in the world, which, the world is a dream. Okay, it's important to recognize that. But I love it when Neil just absolutely taps in to source, to the power within and the truth. And he steps up and completely eradicates all that. He fights against it. And he knows the truth, that they are not real. So just as in our world, it's the world of ego. The real world, everything is perfect. Everything is in the kingdom of God. It's all love. It's all peace. It's all harmony. It's all for good. And God is always supporting us in every way. So even if it doesn't feel like things are working out, tell another story. Go within and trust that God is the only source and the only power. Tell another story. And you really do need to believe it and trust it for it to be manifest. Because we know we can repeat the same stories, the stories of I can't, it's difficult, it's never happened before, I've never been able to do it. Well, switch that up in the moment. Now we're talking in the present moment. When you catch yourself speaking in a negative, I can't, it's doomsday, it's always been this horrible turnout. Try changing it. What is it that you would like to see happen in your life for the highest and best good? Of course, the good of all and the harm of none. But what could be the absolute best choice here? And rewrite your story. You are the author in this co-creating in this world. The divine guidance is there. And I bet if you actually listen to that divine guidance within, you'll be guided to what to do next or not do. I think sometimes we just don't listen. I know for a while I wasn't listening. But once I started actually going to that place of pause and listening, and then taking action according to that which was divine guidance and not the ego, life started just working for me for a long time, and it still is. Just as I'm on this path to branch out and speak occasionally, and maybe take a couple of classes in public speaking, whatever it might be. Just again, if there's nothing else that you get, if there's one thing that you get from this talk, just know that change is possible. And it's possible for you in your personal lives. And since we are one integral part of this sonship, this love, all beings in relationship, as you make the change in your life personally, you're making it also for the entire world, for all people. And so with all that's going on, what comes to mind for me now is that in our stories, whatever it is that we're rewriting, that we make sure we include peace and love and absolute divine right order for all that's happening and appearances in the world, that there be peace, no more war, that there be love and good, God good, expressing and extending through all countries and all peoples. And when we put our focus into that, come from the heart, wholeheartedly, everything works for good. And that's my talk.
Woke up my eyes to see, woke up my head to beat, woke up my heart to be free, woke up our world with you and me. I've opened up my heart, I'm at the start. I save the world, I save the world, I save the world, I save